Smoke. Bring the smoke.
All right.
It's
Yesterday's loss, we're going to talk about it in its entirety during the day after reckoning. Here on the Countdown Chatter, though, I want to talk about what yesterday's loss meant for the Washington football team as a franchise. It meant that they have not had an 11-win season in the last 30 years. The only NFL team to not have one.
Is that true? Is that true?
The Detroit Lions have had an 11-win season. The Washington franchise has not.
Has the Jets have? You're
They've
saying
had an 11-win season.
Jacksonville has?
Does the Jets
Jacksonville has.
Has
I
the
know
Jets
Jacksonville had
have?
some good years. Are you serious? It's the only franchise.
Oh, of course. I mean, nothing about this team surprises me anymore. Except for today. We'll talk about that in about a minute. But
It's been that long.
30 years? I'm 34 years old.
They've had some winning seasons, obviously, but they've not had kind of that impressive wins, right? You got to think like an 11-win season guarantees you're probably making the playoffs, right? I mean, a fringe case that you're not. Possibly won the division.
Yeah.
Like, it's an impressive season.
That's correct. When's the last time Washington has just had a season where they just rolled from the beginning? I mean, it's
from beginning to end where they've rolled.
Yeah.
I don't know that I recall one where they've had. I mean, like
recall.
we're talking back when they were in the Super Bowls, right? They were the 80s and early 90s there.
Yeah,
14-2 for that Super Bowl.
I was a baby.
That's the last time that I think that they really kind of went that far. So that's your thought here on the Countdown Chatter. We'll talk about the entire game here on the day after reckoning once we come back from our opening.
Thomas is in. Touchdown, Washington. Lofting one. He's got a man. It's McLaurin in stride. Touchdown, Washington. Has it back. Chase Young. They're chasing him down the sideline. And Chase Young has a Washington touchdown.
and he does the
He's just like, come on.
that makes me laugh every time.
That deserves a wow.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the day after reckoning here on Ref the District. I am Nathan Perry, and my hosts are here with me as always. We've got Trevor.
Hello.
And we've got the Stoner.
It's a sad day after
guys,
reckoning.
hold on.
All right, he's
I don't
got
know.
a bit. He's got
this
a
is
bit.
a bit. I don't know what's going on here.
It's going crazy right now.
Yeah.
All over the place. I just want to stay safe while we're doing this, while we're in this room together.
Sure.
So,
For our audio listeners, he has masked himself up, of course, in reference to the 9 Washington players who are on the COVID list as of today here on Monday. This unfortunate loser Monday. This is this day after reckoning, this day of mourning for the team. It's like a double whammy, really, guys, because this is like it's a loss, and then it's a loss to the hated Dallas Cowboys. And we were also riding that high. This is the first day of mourning for our day after reckoning that we've had in 4 weeks, right? So this is the first loss here. So it's been some time. We do these day after reckonings the day after Washington plays. Of course, we'll stream these live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Shout out to those who are on our channels right now. We got P-Dub and the house,
What up,
Mama
P-Dub?
Perry, EP, and Cherish Me 202.
what up?
And Josh also on there, who's already calling for Kyle Allen.
My man Josh from yesterday. What up, dog? Let's go.
Not even a full 2 minutes into the cast already, and we're getting the Kyle Allen chance here going. If you haven't checked it out, check out our full 30 minutes on the QB topic that we had yesterday. We knew that the day after reckoning was just going to be a big old QB talk if we didn't separate that. Now, there's probably still going to be some QB talk today because you can't talk about the game without it. But we wanted to sit there and talk about, is it the time to go to Kyle Allen? Is it time to stick with Taylor Heinicke? There's no consensus here within the crew that we have here on Ref the District, which is great because that's the fandom right now is divided on where we are with Taylor Heinicke. Now, none of us, there is consensus on one thing. We all want to draft a QB. So we'll see where Washington goes on that. But that's the future. We're going to be talking about what happened last game. A couple more bookkeeping things to shout out here. One, we are sponsored by Pacers Running. For every run, they've got you covered. Hit them up in one of their 6 stores in Northern Virginia or DC. They'll have you taken care of. If you can't make it there, don't worry. Go ahead and hit them up online. They can get you with a virtual fitting, and they'll sign you up with your shoes and get you going for every run. It's Pacers Running. And you'll notice this other one there. We are also sponsored by Sky Bar.
What's that?
Oh, no, Trev, why don't you tell us a little bit about Sky Bar?
Okay, everybody. It is a bar that yours truly is helping and pretty much running and opening up here the next few weeks. It's a little speakeasy vibe up under a lunch spot called Blue Sky Cafe. So we just took it and played a name off of that. And Sky Bar just passed inspection last week. Draft beer is up and running. Full bar will be running soon. You have to come down, check it out. We might broadcast it too from there. So
where is it?
It's actually, good question. It's in Lexington, Virginia, where I am located as well, about 3 hours south of you guys. So we are very, very happy to be the newest sponsor of Rep the District too as well. So
we're happy to have Sky Bar as a sponsor for sure.
Yes,
absolutely.
Appreciate that.
So
thank you very much.
Go Trav. We do have a full lineup for you on today's show. We're going to have George Carmi coming on from Full Press Coverage Washington. He's going to discuss how the Cowboys fans took over the Fed. Of course, he'll talk about the game a little bit as well. And we got JP from the Junkies coming on to talk both the game and his new book, which you can get at stillbarking.com. And we're being called out already, guys, by Mama Perry. I'm surprised that Shady Katie isn't pinging us. Let's go ahead and get this over with. I see Stoner's put up his blue, so you can see his blue. Yep. Trav has his blue with him. He was actually wearing even more of a hoodie. Now, I went a different route here. This is what I'm bringing to the table for this. This is a Roy Williams signed mini helmet. I will show it whenever somebody tells me that they need to see or mentions Katie in the chat.
Blue.
I'll show the Cowboy blue. Now, the reason why I wanted to share this is because we needed a little victory today. Okay. And so I'm going to share you a little victory story of why this is in the house.
Okay.
This belongs to one Mrs. Perry, who was at one point a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Oh, my.
Yes.
That's our EP also, ladies and gentlemen.
EP.
So we are in the market for free agent EPs.
We can forgive her for her past sins, Trevor, because she has converted. She has seen the light and she has come over and she has been a Washington football fan since 2013 season. So she missed this woman has not seen a good year. She didn't even get the RG3 year because she was adamant of sticking with her Cowboys that year. While baby was in the oven, but she couldn't resist. Once she saw her baby boy in that burgundy and gold, it was over. She switched sides.
Shout out Gavin one time for being the reason behind that.
So
Amen.
big shout out there. But it's hard to part with signed.
Okay, you don't have to keep bringing it in. You brought it in twice.
Then you took away your blue. You took away
which Roy Williams is it, by the way?
Oklahoma.
Is it the offensive
Oklahoma
or the
Roy
defensive?
Oklahoma.
The guy who changed the game because you can't horse collar tackle anybody.
Yeah, that's true.
So here's a question.
Okay,
Trev, or no, this is not a question. This is a statement. Trev, you have an assignment. You have to go back and watch the fan episode, which was PT, right?
Okay.
It was pre-Trev, right? So go back and watch the fan episode, and specifically, you have to watch your boys. How I became a fan.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say. Just you have this assignment that you have to understand.
I've seen every episode.
I'm gonna understand the assignment. I understand the assignment. I hate that, by the way, but
I don't know what that is either.
Oh,
what is that
goodness.
from?
It's a TikTok sound. It's a song. We'll get back to
We'll
that.
we'll educate you another time for that particular.
So we got to give our real quick thoughts because we're gonna have George on.
Oh,
and,
yeah, so
and we're gonna have JP on. So so let's get our quick thoughts about the game before we have them on because we want to hear what they have to say.
Real plain and simple for me, and I'm not piggybacking off of Ron Rivera, but I am in the same way. It was till two halves. We got punched in the mouth first half, and then we punched them in the mouth second half. But by that time, it was too late. We can't start slow. We cannot afford to start slow the rest of the way. The rest of these 4 games, we can't, or else the same result's going to happen because we don't do very well when we're down 3 touchdowns early in the game. Not very well. So.
I don't know that they necessarily punched back in the second half. I think that the score was a lot closer than I think the game indicated there. That the pick 6 return by Cole Holcomb made things interesting. And yes, they did have the chance to tie it up, and then Kyle Allen fumbles away the ball. It would be an interesting thought exercise if you think that Taylor Heinicke, if he was healthy, if he drives the ball and wins, gets his I think his 5th game.
I already have the
winning,
answer to
that. Or at least tying drive there. Interesting thought process. Probably not, because he had 3 quarters he was doing nothing, but that last drive, maybe. We'll see. Well, I guess we won't see. We can think about it though. That first half was ugly. Was big ugly.
You're being too nice right now.
It was not a good first half. I'm surprised more Washington fans just didn't leave at halftime. I was hitting up Rio, I was hitting up Nathan and EP. I was like, y'all leaving at halftime? Y'all leaving at halftime? Nathan, you said your DD. Well, you had a DD, so you had to leave when they left. And then Rio said he rode with some people too, so he had to stay until they left. So everybody was stuck. Yeah. My DD was just like, hey, we should leave at halftime. I said, no, we're sticking. We got to stay a little bit longer. We stayed until Terry McLaurin's headed to the locker room with a concussion. And then I was like, okay, we're good. We can let's head out. And then we watched your guys' reaction, which was amazing. Definitely fun. I always enjoy watching the live shows if I'm not on them. Lots of fun. We'll be live for the Philadelphia show, so that will be something to watch going forward.
Stoner.
But yeah, Stoner, your thoughts before we have George join us.
I can't wait.
Look, very, very simple.
Yes.
The Dallas Cowboys came in here and showed everybody in Washington, don't at me here. They came in here and they showed us what a first-class organization looks like, is supposed to look like.
Whew.
They did.
Bring
they
your
came
own
in
benches
here,
and everything.
whatever it was. They brought in probably at least 20,000 fans of their own fans, whether they're already here or they came from Texas. It doesn't matter. They have built enough of a fan base around the country that they can take over a stadium, and especially a stadium like FedEx. And they just showed us what it takes. They have stars at all kinds of positions. They have an owner who is a star, whether you like him or not, which I can't stand him. He is a star.
Yep.
They have, they're the number 1 or number 2 most profitable organization in all of football, top 10 in the world. They just came in, and then they came in and punched us in the mouth, like you said, and we couldn't respond enough. They showed us what it is that we're trying to become. And I hate to say it, nobody wants to admit it as a fan base, but they showed us what a first-class organization is supposed to look like. And we have to deal with that. And we've got to figure out how to get back to that. And we've got a chance to flip it in a couple of weeks. We'll see what happens.
Our man Andre has a Christmas blowout, calling it now. He's not sad. He thinks today is a happy Monday because the Washington is going to blow out Dallas next time. We will see how that goes. Shout out to Andre. Shout out to Tiho, who is also there. And a big shout out to our guest who we're going to bring on right now. This is George Carney. Welcome here back our day after
sir. What's going on, guys? How you doing today?
FPC in the house. FPC in the house.
What's up, man? How you guys doing? You guys doing all right?
Great. We like to make our guests the big screen here.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
George, you were at the game.
Mm-hmm.
What was your experience like?
So for one, I thought the game was pretty electric. I think the crowd was ready to blow up, right? I think Washington came in, they wanted to have a good time. We were ready for it. I went to about 5 or 6 games so far this year, and by far this was the most crowded I've seen the stadium in the entire season. I went to the red zone parking lot to go park up and hang out with the hog farmers, and the parking lot was full. It was kind of hard to grab a seat or anywhere, and it was a good time. As soon as I got out of my car, I knew it was going to be some trouble because I saw a Cowboy fan wearing a Dak Prescott jersey and an oversized, big old, styrofoam cowboy hat. God, here we go, man. They were running their mouths, just talking the entire time. And, it's funny. Cowboy fans are what they are. Basically, I saw someone wearing number 19. They're like, "Is that a Miles Austin jersey?" Like Cowboy fans talking to each other. I'm like, "Dude, that's Amari Cooper, your own wide receiver." It's just fake fans. They're just posers. So they had no idea what they're doing. But we went there. I went in there, had a seat. I was pumped for it, but I think unfortunately, Washington kind of laid an egg, being down 18-0, kind of took the win out of the stadium, took the win out of the fans, and we were playing catch up the rest of the way.
So, George, would you think ratio wise? Was it less Washington fans in Dallas or vice versa or equal amount or what?
I think it was pretty close, probably 50-50, maybe 60-40 Cowboy fans. But I have a theory behind it. I don't know if you guys want me to dive into it right now, but I do have a theory behind it. Yeah, and then, for one, let me say this, right? I went to the Giants game earlier in the season. I think the Giants game was probably as bad as this, about 50-50 ratio. The Giants game, though, there was less fans in the stadium, so it kind of seemed like you just saw blue everywhere. But while the Cowboys, I would say we were probably 80-90% capacity today, which was pretty fun to watch. It was pretty cool to be there. My theory for why there's so many NFC East fans is people that are, we are in a, transient area. People come from, local, from, they're moving from New York, moving from North Carolina, things like that. This is their Super Bowl, right? So like a Cowboys fan, let's say you live in North Carolina or West Virginia or something like that. You circle this on your calendar, hey, this is the only time I get to see the Dallas Cowboys all season long. So you're buying this ticket no matter what. You're buying it, in August to go there, and your intention is to antagonize and just piss off Washington fans. That's your goal, to basically go to the stadium, right?
Yeah.
DC fans, you're either one or the other, right? Season ticket holders, if you are comfortable enough with your finances to have season tickets, more power to you, right? But there's a lot of people that can't afford season tickets, so they kind of buy tickets a la carte, right? And unfortunately, we're all DC sports fans. Sometimes we kind of ride the hot hand, or if we're not a big, if the team's going downhill, you don't actually go to the games. Rather do something else and try to be more entertained, right? So I think what ended up happening was, 50% of the stadium, the Cowboy fans basically, you've never been to Dallas. I love that. Exactly right, Steve. Basically, a bunch of people, they bought the tickets in advance, knowing they're going to watch the Cowboys. Washington fans, it's a fun game now, I want to go. But then, the economy, the price shot up. And I think a lot of Washington fans were boxed out. So it was like, I'm not going to drop $300 for a ticket. We're not going to watch it at home or do all that. So I think that was kind of that's always going to be the deficit moving forward. So that's my theory to why the Cowboys fans were dominant the other day.
And I think that's fair, George. However, if
I know, right?
If Washington came into this game, and they were 9-3, and Washington was, and Dallas was 6 and whatever. Do the math on that, 6-5 or whatever, 6-6.
Yeah,
right. This place would be overloaded with Washington fans. They would not sell their seats, or they would fork out the money. Absolutely. Go back to as early as or as recent as 2012, when the RG3 craze was on.
You're right.
FedEx was packed,
jumping,
and it was packed with Washington fans. Why? Because they were winning, and you had a star, and you had somebody everybody can rally behind.
I agree to that.
Right, but then you got losing, and it was all losing before that as well. So you had that 1 year. But if this team would just frickin' win somehow, then you won't have all of these Dallas fans. You'd still have plenty. Don't get me wrong. You'd still have plenty of fans there. But your theory is right. Your theory is I agree
that's spot on.
But perhaps the ratio is looking more like 70-30 rather than as close as it was. Because I do agree. I think it was close to 50-50. You know, my area, I had Dallas fans in front of me. I had Dallas fans to the left of me, and I had Dallas fans behind me. The only Washington fans I had were my family sitting next to me. And thankfully, they had some Washington fans that were sitting next to them. Otherwise, the entire section, this is lower bowl on the home side.
Yeah, I was going to say the visitor side was almost completely blue. I saw that, and I'm sure you guys know, and probably going to talk about later on. But in the second half, I think it was like DeMarcus Ware. So, not DeMarcus Ware, Marcus Lawrence. He was like, cheering the crowd, trying to get everybody pumped up. And it was like, I could see it being like, you just kind of taking the steam out of our players, like they're cheering when there's a drop pass or on a third down or something. It's got to be, it's tough, where are you going to get that extra energy from when your own fans are rooting against? It's pretty difficult. So I can see that.
If you watch JP Finley's pregame right before on NBC Sports Washington, and he was doing a live hit when Washington was coming out of the tunnel, okay, there were palpable boos. You could hear boos everywhere.
That's crazy.
Washington is coming out of our own tunnel.
Yeah,
well, that's unacceptable. But look right here, look right there. Look at, it's our fault because we're not going to the games and we're fans and we should be.
And Jerry Jones said earlier in the week that their biggest fan base comes in from Washington. So
he trolled us all week, man. He trolled us all week, man.
And he's exactly right.
Trash and the benches and all that. Yeah, that's crazy.
And how great would it be if the roles were reversed and Texas Stadium was being overrun by Washington fans, and we were getting in their heads, and our coach is predicting wins, and we go in there and punch them in the face? How great would that be? We would all love it.
Yeah. Stoner, I think you hit the nail on the head too. I saw you when I first came on. Before I came on, you were talking about just the Cowboys being a first-class organization. They are, and we hate on them because they're our rivals, but they just have just quality state-of-the-art facilities. Like they have the Star. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those drone shots of actually going through. It's like a shopping
Hard Knocks episode.
Yeah, Hard Knocks episode. Exactly right.
That's a full-on experience.
It's just beautiful, and there's the locker room facilities are great, and they have indoor and outdoor practice field, and it's like that's why I think people hate it when I say this, but when it's apples to apples and the actual contracts are pretty much the same, why would you choose Washington over the Dallas Cowboys?
Exactly.
Right? I would, Texas sales tax is cheaper over there, so the contract's technically worth more over there. And then on top of that, the actual stadium experience is nice and indoors and state of the art. And Jerry Jones loves spoiling his stars. I'm sure Micah Parsons going to be sitting next to him at some NBA Finals or something. It's always it happens that way. So it's just different. So we'll see how it goes.
So we have
Dan used to spoil his stars too. Unfortunately, he would spoil the stars past their prime.
Exactly.
That was a big issue for Washington.
Exactly.
Yeah, and hopefully, as we move forward, hopefully with the rebrand, hopefully with a new stadium, hopefully this all kind of comes together like it has for
it's supposed to
for the Cowboys and like it's supposed to. Because absolutely. You go there to a game, it's an experience, not just in the stadium, outside the stadium, around the stadium. It's the whole thing. Here, you've got a stadium out in the middle of nowhere. You got a mile to the closest public transportation. And it's just traffic
it looks like we're a high school field, bro. Our field looks like a high school field compared to every other stadium.
Ugly, and the food, it's hard to get food there. It's pretty difficult. Yeah, so
all that scissors on the field.
Physically dangerous to play on the field. Yeah, I totally see that there.
So you add all that up. Yeah, you add all that up, and you've just got a not first-class organization, however you want to claim it, whether it's just a terrible bottom of the barrel organization.
I would argue that. I would say we're more towards the bottom third than the actual top third.
Unfortunately, but we got a chance. But we've got a chance in the next 5 years to be able to build upon that. But no matter what, you'll hear me say probably since our very first episode way back in February.
Yeah,
if you win, none of that matters. None of it matters. You can have poop falling out of the stands onto
Let
people.
it rain.
Let it come down. I'm doing it all day.
This is
To the
Washington
Cowboys
poop. I love it.
fans,
It's
right?
really good.
It's only our fans that happens.
All day.
Yeah.
I don't care. If we're running up and
Bathing in
down
it.
the field on teams, I don't care. None of that matters.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
I'm with you too.
Yeah,
What up,
I agree
George?
with you guys. I do think the window's gonna with the new stadium, that's gonna open a lot of doors for us, right? I think we are winning's definitely gonna occur. I think star power and having a QB will definitely stabilize our team a little bit.
Sure.
RG3 basically, with him, I don't know if you guys remember, it's been a long time now, but when RG3, going into 2013, there was like a NFL headquarters in New York. It was like Peyton, I forget the quarterbacks now, but I think it was like Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, RG3. It's like behind the emblem. And it was like they were trying to market him and try to build up Washington. But then, everything happened in 2013, it was one of my least favorite years of all time, with the whole Shanahan drama and RG3's knee going down. It was ugly, but we were on the precipice. We were about to explode, and then to the family. That was pretty bad.
Right back to square one.
and here we are.
Speaking of our QB situation, so we talked at length yesterday about whether or not it's time to move to Kyle Allen. What are your thoughts on the QB situation? If Taylor Heinicke's healthy, does he start next week?
Yeah.
So me and Trevor have talked about this extensively on other podcasts. I've also talked about it in my other groups as well. I'm vehemently opposed to that. I don't know how you guys feel. Like I feel like Taylor Heinicke, he put in his work, man. It's like what's that saying where you dance with the girl you brought to the dance? Whatever you came there with.
Go home with the girl you brought or something.
Yeah, you go home with the girl you brought to the dance. That's what you got to do, right? So basically, it's like Taylor Heinicke. Has he been like a superstar? No. Has he shown some moxie? Has he shown some composure during some tough times?
Word?
Yes.
I
Moxie,
love that
moxie every single time, right? It's always Taylor Heinicke moxie. But I just think that I think yesterday, I think it exposed his flaws. I think it wasn't necessarily 100% his fault. Their defensive line, their front seven are maniacs. And seeing Micah Parsons in person, I'm telling you what, like that's something special. He looked like it's blasphemous to say Lawrence Taylor-esque. He's a maniac out there. He's really
what?
Fast.
That's funny you said that because someone on a live stream said that he reminds us of Lawrence Taylor in his early years.
He said that he's the next Lawrence Taylor.
The next Lawrence
Taylor. I said, whoa.
Yeah, but I say you can't like I actually saw some Lawrence Taylor, so I can't actually say that, but like you saw some fast twitch. Like he just looked like the superior athlete out there. Like it was like he just did a couple of jukes, and it was like the offensive line had like no response. Like it was ridiculous.
He made a fool of Brandon Sheriff at least
day, bro.
Twice that I can think of. Yeah, it was he's a stud. Unfortunately, he's wearing the wrong jersey.
And it's by luck too. It's like I've talked about that as well. So let me finish that part off. So in regard to luck, the Cowboys wanted Patrick Surtain. They wanted him as the cornerback, and that was what they scheduled to take. And basically, they caught with their, they weren't ready for it. They caught by the pants down. Basically, it didn't work out. They took the best player available, and it worked. It worked 2 years in a row. CeeDee Lamb and now Micah Parsons. And I think Washington should start looking into that as well. Like we reached for Jamin
trying
Davis.
to research these diamonds in the rough.
Just take the best player available because your needs change year after year. So I think that's what happened there. And then finally going back to Heinicke, I think Heinicke, I like him as a player. I do want him as part of the QB room next year, but I just think like he's not like I haven't tweeted it this morning. There's some quarterbacks that are elite and can mask a lot of flaws, right? So when things are going chaotic, you can basically rise above that. And basically, Taylor Heinicke cannot do that. He can, in a perfect climate, in a vacuum, he can carry the team. He can win the game for you. But basically, when things are chaotic, when there's blitzes coming, and he feels like he has to overcompensate, then it just all goes downhill really quickly. So like he's more of a middle of the pack, lower end starter, maybe an ideal backup. I think we need to add talent to the QB room, whether it's what's up, Maul? Whether it's basically for me, I'd rather draft a quarterback and develop him over the next couple of years. And there's no way we're going to get Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson, in my opinion. So go for the draft pick and build him up.
All right.
Yeah. One can certainly hope. So that should be a good thing. We appreciate you, George, for joining us.
Of course, man. It's good seeing y'all guys. Yeah, Trevor tomorrow with Joe Castro. I'm going to catch up tomorrow. Remember that?
Yes, sir.
All right, later.
This is George Carmi. You can catch him on Full Press Coverage Washington. George, always a pleasure to have you.
Pleasure always, guys. Take care.
I appreciate you, George.
Bye, guys.
George. Great stuff.
The shout out to our fans and people jumping in. So again, Andre and Tiho are going back and forth in the chat there. We showed this. Shout out to Jamal from Let Maul Tell It. Trap Dive podcast, great content creator. Check him out. He's out on our Twitch. We had Rio, who was up here a little bit. Steve as well. Steve from Washington Football Addicts, rambling with Rio. So shout out to all these guys who are jumping in there. The George brought the fire. Lots of great things that he had to say.
That theory
there.
was nice though. That theory about the fans, that makes a lot of sense.
They probably bought those tickets when they were like $100 when Washington fans are sitting there having to buy it. Like those lower bowl tickets. I think at the end, I think those lower bowl tickets probably got down to maybe $300, but that's still a lot. I mean, could you imagine some of these fans, we're season ticket holders, so we paid what we paid. But I mean, could you imagine if you bought the tickets at the beginning of the week, $600 to $1,000?
Yeah,
ticket. Yeah. And then you watch your team just completely get trounced in the first half.
Right.
And if you feel sorry for those fans because they're like, oh, we won 4 games. We're beating Dallas. Get a ticket. And they pay those horrible prices.
Right. And then they're never coming back.
No.
And those particular fans are never coming back because that's what they saw.
They probably spent paychecks to come here and they get surrounded by Dallas fans.
That could be somebody's Christmas present too, 2 weeks early. I mean, even though we play them in Texas, but that could have been their part of the Christmas, and we ruined their Christmas, you guys.
Yeah,
this is something EP brings up, the military community. So there's transplants. DC is definitely
just
a
the federal
community. So
just the federal government in general. People come here to work for the federal government for a few years and then they go back. So they come from Texas and New York and Pennsylvania and everywhere. But I'm just using those because those are our different rivals in the NFC East. But yeah, so it is a transient community, 100%. But again, it's always been a transient community. And what was RFK like? Back in the Super Bowl years,
Washington filled it up. Washington filled it up with burgundy and gold. I also agree with that. As far as like filling it up there, not just right now the team's not good, so you're going to fill it with opposing fans, and it's not just the transient community; it's the Super Bowl thing as well. It's also it's a destination site, right? People can couple the game with a visit to the National Mall. They can see the White House, the Washington Monument. They can see, the Smithsonian's. They can do all of that in addition to the game. So even if they are the ones who are paying $600 a ticket, it's fine. They're doing a whole week-long excursion to kind of make, the most of that money being spent.
And it doesn't hurt that Dallas is 8-4.
It doesn't hurt
if they were
Dallas
4-8,
a winning team right now.
Yeah. All of those are huge factors, and it's depressing.
One day, guys.
Make excuses for it because
one day
it was a well-deserved butt whooping, and it was a well-deserved smack in our own face on how our organization is run from top to bottom, all the way down to
the water boy
trainers who is in jail or wherever
the
he's
water
at right now.
Oh, DEA Ryan.
Yeah, well, all the way from the top, you go all the way down through the players, and then you also go to all the administration, and then you go to the medical. Oh, that guy's in jail or whatever situation.
The water boy giving players vodka instead of water, and
right.
What in the world is going on? Because we're playing drunk on the field, obviously. Can we get back to the field real quick now? Let's talk a little more about the field.
Shout out to Toothpick First String Podcast.
I got something to say.
Yep, don't forget we've got JP Flame from the Junkies coming up here.
We also got to get to our go-goes and no-goes too. So let's
hear
what Trev's got to say. Let's see what you got to say.
She's about the game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you ready?
Ready.
Oh, is this a hot take alert?
Yep.
Sounds like it.
And we need a.
I tweeted it before I went to bed last night. It didn't get much steam because I think it was late. But here's my hot take.
Yeah, because I was gonna just poo-poo all over it.
You saw it?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
The Washington football team will elevate Kelvin Harmon to the active roster for Sunday. I know that's probably a Wednesday conversation, but
I don't think they will.
I mean,
and I'll bet you $1.
I'll take the $1.
Let me just
you never know. Look how many people
About
have COVID for us right now on Monday. This COVID thing ain't over. If we can survive the week from COVID, then you'll win your dollar, Nathan. But I, for some reason, have a strange feeling we're going to see Kelvin Harmon on Sunday.
I'm just saying 2 of those people who went out with COVID are on the practice squad. Might have been playing hopscotch with Kelvin Harmon. So I'm just saying.
But, okay, so let me ask you this, Trev. What is why should we care if he's if he gets elevated? Who cares? He's Kelvin Harmon.
Well, because he's a really good blocking wide receiver. He's probably better.
That's what we need. That's what we need. You're right.
Yes.
We need a blocking wide receiver.
Yeah, we do.
So that we can block
I watched
defensive backs.
I watched Alan Lazard last night block everybody as part of the offense. I mean, it's a key thing. It's a key thing.
It can be a key thing, but you know what you need? You need, instead of Alan Lazard, you need Devontae Adams to catch 13 balls for 120 or whatever he did.
I know, but Alan Lazard caught the first touchdown, so I don't even care. He got a touchdown. He caught it. He's crucial.
Kelvin Harmon is a dime a dozen.
So if Terry,
but I'm just saying,
this is a Wednesday. This is a Wednesday conversation.
We'll finish up the wide receiver talk on Wednesday. The reason why I'll leave you with this. I'll leave with this. Dax Milne is already, he's not on the practice squad. He's on the 53. He just gets inactivated. He's going to be active if Terry McLaurin can't go, and you're going to see more Cam Sims. But we'll finish this conversation on Wednesday's show. We'll finish it up.
So this is related, but it's also related to the game yesterday.
Okay.
Taylor Heinicke did not get Terry McLaurin hurt, and I've seen a lot of that. He did not.
Why not?
How many times in a game do guys go jumping for balls and come down with it and not knock their head on the ground? 1,000 per week, whatever it is. It happens every game, multiple times a game. It wasn't a great throw. So what? You've thrown it up. How many times do you hear this? Wait, hang on. How many times do you hear this?
What?
Throw it up, give your receiver a chance. That's all he did. It was a football play, and he got hurt.
On that particular play, he should have just gotten for the first down. He didn't need it.
Okay, I'm not talking about that.
Coverage.
But he didn't get hurt.
Here's mine. You ready?
Okay.
Yeah. Here's mine. Terry McLaurin is not built for 50-50 balls, even though he's really, really good at them. Okay? If he's double covered, there's no reason why Terry McLaurin should have to jump 4 feet in the air to catch a ball. He's not built for that, and because he's too small. He's really, really good at it. He's good at it, but he's only good at it because that's the only kind of balls Taylor throws him. Let's think about that, you guys.
Okay, that's fine.
Be honest.
That's true. That's fine.
So, but you're getting Terry killed every single throw. He just happened to get hurt really, really bad.
Not just Terry. He does put. I'll say
puts his receivers in harm's way all the time.
How come we're not saying the same thing about the throw to Cam Sims?
Because Cam Sims is 6'4", 6'5", and he's bigger than Terry McLaurin. That's his.
Okay,
that's
so
his
you
position.
can only throw 50-50 balls to Cam Sims. You can't throw them to Terry McLaurin.
You can throw them to Terry McLaurin.
It's in the NFL.
But we
can't throw 50-50 balls.
There's no reason why we're throwing that many 50-50 balls to Terry McLaurin, because you're getting that man hurt.
Not about the 50-50 balls. Trev, don't fall for Stoner's trap here. It's not about the 50-50 balls. It's about the balls that are high and behind and putting Terry McLaurin in a position that is going to get him injured.
Yes,
and it's not just Terry McLaurin, it's others. I will agree with Stoner. I don't think that it was Taylor Heinicke who got McLaurin injured. Okay. I just think that would happen to be, it was a bad decision. Okay. I'll give you, it was a bad decision by Heinicke.
Which led to what?
Shall I show this?
It was, yes. Let's show this. We'll take off our branding so we can see Trevor.
And this is exactly, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
It was a bad decision. Okay, but
every game.
It wasn't necessarily him throwing into double coverage that got McLaurin injured. It was just the way he ended up falling to the ground, which easily could have just been a nothing burger. It could have been just simply, no issue here. Oh, yeah. Look how wide open Curtis Samuel
receivers are. I can't stand it, bro. This happens every game.
Look at the score.
I don't care about
that's
this.
why he's doing it.
I'm not saying
points on that throw.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm not saying, but this is also a product of the score because he was pressing. Right? They've all said that, and he tried to make a 24-point play.
Yeah, and you can't do that.
If the score was reversed, I guarantee he would have thrown it to Curtis Samuel.
I don't think he would have still.
I think he would have.
But
that's a product of Taylor Heinicke not being the man. We all know that.
He didn't have to be the man. He just has to be better. Like this is
But that's what we're saying, though, right?
That's what I'm saying.
It's like, you don't have to be the man. You just have to do your job, which is to read the field.
This is one of the things that the coaches have gotten onto him about, which is just like take what the defense gives you. You don't have. He doesn't have to get the touchdown right there. If they just keep driving, they can still score. And if they get the touchdown at the end of that drive, which is the goal, they're still only down a few. You're only showing that because he said good points. Steve, do not feed into this.
Yeah, Steve, we're on the show too.
So bad decision by Heinicke, but it wasn't his fault that McLaurin got injured. It just happened to be the play that he was injured on. Now, that being said, Heinicke's bad passes do put his wide receivers at risk for injury.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. High risk. Every quarterback does. Every quarterback does, but Taylor literally tries to get his receiver's head knocked off. Like it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Somebody in the game last night, Aaron Rodgers threw a pass to somebody coming across the middle, and he got absolutely destroyed. It might have been Aaron Jones. It might have been, I don't remember exactly who it was, and I saw that and I was like, well, there's an example of a top 5 quarterback of all time throwing his receiver into a spot where he's going to get injured. It happens once in a while. With Taylor, it seems to happen a lot more because he's not good enough to not allow that to happen.
Think about it. The game before this, in the Raiders game, what happened to McLaurin? He had to come out for a little bit because maybe like a minor shoulder injury or something. Terry McLaurin, it gets banged up every single game, whether he shows it to the camera or not. That man takes shots. He gets triple, quadruple team, which means more shots. It's just Taylor throws his receivers into harm's way more than he throws it when it's unnecessary. Aaron Rodgers last night was probably necessary to get the first down. That's fine. We'll take it. But if you're throwing a bomb, it's 3rd and 5, and he's 5 people around Cam Sims at one time. Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're right. His performance yesterday was not good. But it was good the 4 games leading in. So we'll see what happens going forward. But Ron has already said for sure that he's a quarterback as long as
he's healthy. If he's healthy,
I got to call Ron
Taylor
tomorrow.
Heinicke on Sunday against the Philadelphia Eagles.
I'm going to join him on the Junkies.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
All right. Speaking of the Junkies,
which was my segue. Yeah, you guys, come on.
I know you did a good job. You didn't complete the segue though. You gotta continue going.
That's your part.
We're being joined right now by JP from the Junkies. He is also the author of his book, which you can get on stillbarking.com.
Yep.
So you can catch that, get that. It's the Sports Junkies 25 years, their friendship, their brotherhood, get all that good stuff. Let's welcome JP for the second time to ref the district.
He's festive today. What up, JP?
He's got
What's up, fellas?
Whole Christmas thing going on today.
How we doing?
I'm doing all right. That actually was, my mom passed this year, but it's a little homage to my mom because the last few years I grew up, always had a real tree. It wasn't anything monster. It was probably like one of those 7-foot Fraser firs. And as she got a little bit older, she was living by herself. She didn't want to deal with the big tree. So she would do kind of the smaller tree. Yep. And we decided to bring that over, put it in the office.
Very
that's
nice.
The deal.
I do that too.
Though. Talk about Taylor Heinicke. I can tell a couple of you guys are a little iffy on Taylor. I don't blame you.
We're a lot iffy, JP. There's
well, I think we're all in agreement that and everybody is. I don't think I've ever seen anywhere that everybody says Taylor Heinicke is the quarterback of the future. But we just got to get through this year and probably again next year. But this year we got to get through with Taylor Heinicke. Is it? We've had this discussion a lot lately. Is Kyle Allen going to get a chance, you think, in the next couple of games?
I don't think so. I think that ship is sailed. Taylor's played well enough, I think, where he's not going to get benched. Now, if he had 3 straight games like he had yesterday, well, then that's a different story. But I wouldn't anticipate that. You know, during that 4-game win streak, which caught me by surprise, I'm sure it caught you guys by surprise.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Particularly the Tampa game. He started to take care of the ball. They were running the football effectively, controlling the clock. His completion percentage in those 4 wins, all of them above 70%. In one of the games, above 80%. The attempts were down. Yesterday, it just looked like he was pressing a little bit. The 2 passes which got me, all right, he could have had one picked off, which De'Ami Brown fell down on. I'm almost going to give him a pass on that, although it probably wasn't a great ball. But the 2 over the middle where he tried to kind of jam it into like triple coverage, I don't know what he was thinking there. I mean, Micah Parsons almost picked off one of them. The other one, he was lucky that it wasn't picked. It was kind of out of character from the Heinicke you'd seen the last month.
But not out of character who we've seen overall, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. You know, first half of the
that's
season,
where I'm getting at. Yes.
During that 2-6 start, I think his touchdown to interception ratio was 1.22 to 1. That's not very good. That's better than Trevor Lawrence's, but it's not good.
Is Trevor Lawrence really that bad?
He's not been good
I haven't
this
been
year.
paying attention.
He's not been. He hasn't been exactly the quarterback people envisioned him to be.
He's also a rookie.
He plays
so
for a different team.
Our journeyman starting quarterback Taylor Heinicke has this much better of a quarterback rating than a rookie in Jacksonville.
I don't know. Is it really this much better? I mean, Lurch brought this up on the show today. Do you know how many touchdown passes Trevor Lawrence has on the season?
I have no idea.
Less than 10. I was about to say.
How many picks
10. Over 10.
14.
Or 14 because he threw 4 yesterday.
And throwing another 7 fumbles, I believe.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Really bad.
Heinicke's been a lot better than Trevor Lawrence. But Trevor Lawrence is playing for a terrible organization. Urban Meyer's been a disaster. With Heinicke, we all know what he is. He's a middling quarterback at his best. Probably better served as kind of a top-tier backup.
Why do you think he was pressing so much yesterday? Was it just the fact that Washington went down, or was it the moment against a big rival? Because this is his first Dallas Cowboys game wearing burgundy and gold.
I don't think it was the moment or it was the Dallas Cowboys. I think maybe a little bit more what Trev said before. It's kind of in him, right? And he can kind of fight it off from time to time. Ron was preaching, be a game manager, play within himself. During that 4-game winning streak, Taylor Heinicke reminded me a little bit of Alex Smith. When they were winning games with Alex Smith, run the football, play good defense, don't commit turnovers. And during that 4-game win streak, 7 touchdowns, just 2 picks. It wasn't like he was having 300-yard games. He wasn't having those games at all. In fact, it was mostly short little passes. You know, this is speculation, but maybe no J.D. McKissick is big for a guy like Taylor Heinicke who was throwing some dump-offs during the last month.
Very true.
Yeah. JP, Nathan was at the game yesterday, and our first guest we had on was George Carmi. He's from Full Press Coverage, Washington. He was also at the game. And they both said that it was overwhelmingly in favor of Cowboys fans.
Oh, yeah.
Is this the new normal? And is it simply a product of the talent or lack thereof on the field? Or is this something bigger?
I think this has been building for 25 years, right? They've been mired in mediocrity. As long as we've been doing the Junkie Show, they've pretty much been mediocre or worse. Every once in a while, there's a flare-up. Todd Collins wins a couple of games and you sneak into the playoffs. Or streak with RG3.
Yeah.
Or you get in the playoffs at 7-9. But when's the last time we had a 14-2, a 13-3?
I don't know.
11-4 or 5
for over 25 years. So there's the losing. There's also, and Nathan can talk about this, there's the experience at FedEx Field. So many people have kind of quit going. I know on our show, Lurch said it 13 years ago. He said, I'm never going back because he lives in Ashburn, Virginia. I think it took him 2.5 hours to get home, and he was like, it's just not worth it. Juice ain't worth the squeeze. So a lot of people have kind of counted it out because of that. You combine that with losing. I think it's tough to get out. But I got to tell you this. I did pregame live on NBC Sports Washington.
Yeah.
And JP Finley was doing a stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
And while he was doing it, the Washington football team emerged from the tunnel and came out. And it was a sea of booze. Nothing but booze. Like the Cowboys fans, they have completely taken over the stadium. I think it would take years of winning to actually curb that. But let's just say hypothetically, I brought this up on the show today. Just say hypothetically, Ron talks about building the program. So, and we're going to have Ron Rivera on the show tomorrow, 8:25 on the Junkies.
Yeah.
But let's say this year they sneak into the playoffs, 8-9, 9-8, whatever it is, depending how they finish. Let's say next year is 10-7 or 11-6. And let's say in year 4 of Rivera, the trajectory continues and they're 13-4. And there's a true sweat at like a championship game, potentially a Super Bowl. Well, then I think the fans come back. And the fans withstand kind of a crappy stadium and bad experience and the traffic and parking and all the negatives you hear about. They'll withstand that because they did during the RG3 year, right? When RG3 had things going in 2012, everybody was into it. The buzz was crazy. And you just withstand a terrible stadium. I mean, RFK was a terrible stadium. Let's be real.
Yes.
But people
there's a reason why they moved away
all
from
the time.
Yeah.
So,
I have to call out, sorry, Trev, just real quick. I have to call out Lurch on something when he talks about not going to tailgate or not going to a game at FedEx Field. I understand that, right? But he drives all the way to Virginia Tech to go to games for a team that he doesn't like, for a terrible team, a terrible product on the field. Why? I know it's because his daughters go there. But you know why? Because he likes the tailgate. No, he likes the tailgate experience. He likes to hang out with he doesn't care what happens on the field. If in Washington he had a great tailgate experience, he would do it because it's not really about the game. It's about hanging out with your boys and barbecuing and throwing some cornhole and screaming at the opposing fans in the tailgate area. So I have a little thing to pick with Lurch there. Of course, he'll never come on our show, so
it's possible.
He doesn't do that.
It's possible. I would say this. Here's how you get Jason to come back. You need a bunch of rich benefactors to invite him. That's really what Lurch is all about,
I'm looking around. I don't see any. I don't see any on this show. That's for sure. Sorry,
like
Trev.
tailgating, maybe not so much. But if a couple of rich guys befriend him, invite him up into the box, then there's a possibility. Toss in a ride like that guy. Look, more power to him. I actually write about it in the book and stillbarking.com. He legitimately has gone to Pebble Beach now a couple times on golf trips with the guy who contacted him on the text machine. A stranger reached out to him, knew that Jason was a golfer, and somehow he's gone private jet, drinking, playing at Pebble Beach, doesn't pay $1 for it. That is Lurch's life.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I text him and I get nothing but crickets back. So I need the cash.
You got to book that private jet next time, Stoner. You got to work. Work on your connects.
So, JP, minus all the obvious COVID issues and injury issues we had yesterday before the game even kicked off, what do you think was the reason why we got punched in the mouth like that in the first half, and then all of a sudden all it takes is Ron Rivera yelling at halftime and we come out guns a-blazing, or we at least play better? What do you think was the reason for the slow start yesterday? COVID? Too big of a moment? 4-game win streak?
I don't know. I kind of look at it this way. Let's be real. Isn't Dallas's roster better?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Okay. So I feel like Dallas handed it to them because they're a better team. I don't buy into the yelling at halftime. I remember everybody got all fired up for Rivera because there was that one viral clip where he was grilling the Carolina Panthers.
In Carolina? Yeah, I love that clip.
And then they got smacked in the second half even worse. Nobody ever talks about it. They're like,
I didn't even know
Ron
that.
Rivera. Look what he's doing to the team. They got smoked in the second half, right? So I kind of look at it as Dallas is a better team. Micah Parsons proved to be a problem. They knew that it was going to be a problem. And that was, I think I heard that Micah Parsons, Lawrence, and Gregory had only been on the field together for 25 snaps. And clearly that defensive line dominated the Washington football team's offensive line. And for the most part, the Washington football team's offensive line has played well here, particularly in the last month as they've been pounding the ball with Antonio Gibson. They got behind, and you guys were talking about it. Heinicke started throwing his floaters. got out of character, and the game, I think, got away from them. In the second half, defense played solid. And look, I think they got a little lucky. Was that game 27-20? No, I mean, Dak Prescott gave him a gift. He didn't see Holcomb. Credit to Holcomb, makes a good play. It's a pick six. All of a sudden, you're like, whoa, Washington might be able to steal this game. But in reality, Dallas was better.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me of the Chargers game, the very first game.
Oh yeah,
where it was only 20-16.
Right.
But I mean, the Chargers really owned that entire game.
So my question is though, we played the Buccaneers, who were obviously better than the Cowboys, but we looked way more prepared and more calm. Was it because of the bye week, or is it because they have a better roster too than we do? They have Tom Brady.
That is a good counterpoint there.
You know what I'm saying?
Give that to you. I mean, why? I don't know.
I'm just asking you.
What's your theory?
I think it was the buzz. We're a 4-game win streak. Taylor Heinicke's one of the his stats were great. 80% completion percentage. We won 4 in a row. It's Dallas week. They're coming to our place. The fans gonna be rocking. Everybody from Jason Wright. Yeah, it was just a lot of buzz because we were still 6-6, but because we won 4 games in a row, and the only good team we beat in that span was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I just feel like they were riding high on that and figured, oh, it's Dallas. We beat them twice last year. I think that's how they felt. And that's why we got punched in the mouth first half.
Yeah, I just think Dallas is a better team. And it's going to be tough to beat them in the next go-round.
Yeah,
why are they a better team? Just line it up. Like, if we were to pick the 10 best players on the field yesterday, how many Washington football team players are you going to put in there?
Probably just Terry, John Allen.
I wouldn't put Terry in there. Why would you put Terry in there?
Well, not necessarily yesterday.
Not based off of the game.
But
overall.
Just overall.
Overall,
you probably give me Terry and John Allen. Maybe. I wouldn't even put Cam Curl in there.
Nah.
No,
Landon Collins.
Then you'd have CeeDee Lamb. You'd have Dak.
Collins.
You'd have Zeke. You'd have DeMarcus Lawrence. You'd have Micah Parsons. You're right. I mean,
I got Diggs.
7 out of 10.
Diggs got 9 interceptions.
Yeah.
So I just
Dallas
think they're a better
definitely
team.
has a better roster.
Can Washington beat them on occasion? Sure. If they put it together, but they're not going to beat them with 4 turnovers. They're not going to beat them with Gibson not run the football effectively.
Yeah.
I think we know, could Heinicke pull a rabbit out of his hat every once in a while? Sure. But by and large, they're going to win if Heinicke's attempts are a little bit lower, if he's efficient, kind of that Alex Smith model of football. It's not going to wow you. He's not going to throw a million downfield throws. Although, look, give him credit. That ball to Cam Sims was a nice ball.
Nice.
Heinicke, I think, a lot of fans gravitate to him because underdog story, smaller guy.
Yeah.
So you root for the underdog. But somebody called into our show today and compared him to Rudy. There's a reason why Rudy wasn't on the field, right?
Yeah, he had one play. He had one play at the very, very, very
Everybody had to give up their jersey to make that one play happen.
Yeah.
Do you think if Taylor Heinicke was healthy, do you think that if he ran that last drive, that Washington scores? Because Kyle Allen was the QB there. He had a beautiful pass to Carter.
So.
Carter dropped the ball, and then Kyle Allen immediately coughs on the ball. Do you think if Taylor Heinicke's in there and healthy, that he gets another one of these drives where they potentially tie or go for the 2-point conversion and potentially it's a game-winning drive? Do you think that happens with Taylor Heinicke yesterday?
No, I'll agree with Trey. I don't really think so.
Nah.
But
hard to imagine, right? Hard to imagine. There's a lot of fans I've been seeing. Not a lot, but there's some fans.
He had a terrible game yesterday.
Yeah.
I'd have to punch it up right now, but his final QBR, I want to say, was below 5. Think about
was
that.
It really?
So it's scale of 100.
Yeah.
Double check it. You know what? I can do that while we're talking.
Yeah, double check that. See where, because it was probably his worst game.
It was single digits
in our for this entire career with us.
Yeah, in the uniform. But I don't think he's as bad as he was yesterday, and I don't think he's as good as he was against Tampa. Same with the whole team. There's somewhere in between there, and you've got to be able to, as a team, to be able to have that consistency to where you're not down 24-0, and then where you have to press and you have to throw all the time.
Yeah, his QBR was 4.9.
Wow.
Yeah. What was Trevor Lawrence's
much better. He had a 9.9. Moose got a bad quarterback play yesterday.
Kyle Allen, I think, was 5.9 or something.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty bad.
And to be quite honest, I'm gonna be real. I don't know. You guys can be different or whatever, but the Cowboys didn't show me anything special yesterday. To show me why they're 9-4.
Defensively,
they looked good. Their offense.
But Dak is not $75 million worth. Zeke is washed.
Probably.
I mean, they didn't have.
And
any
they only scored.
plays.
They only scored 6, or they only scored 1 touchdown. They only had 1 touchdown, right?
Yeah.
And they had 5 field goals, I think, or whatever, and they had the defensive touchdown. They only scored 1 offensive touchdown. So yeah, for sure that. It wasn't an overwhelming performance there. Oh,
so
look at
you
that.
boys feel confident with 4 games left, all in the division. You got the Eagles twice in the span of 3 weeks. You got the Giants in the season. Got the Cowboys again. Right now, the 7 seed, if the playoffs were to start today, are you confident Washington's going to be back in the playoffs?
No.
I actually am. I'm
not, bro. To be COVID, bro, and that's the only. It's a thing. If we don't have
that can
nowhere.
Certainly torpedo the season. I think that in these last 4 games, I think they can go 2-2 and sneak in there. I think that they need to realistically go 3-1.
I was going to say, I can see us
have an actual shot to do
we
it.
lose to Dallas again.
Well,
JP's
been running around. Yeah, sorry. JP's been running around all afternoon, and maybe doesn't realize all of the guys who went on COVID injured reserve list today. Like
Jonathan Allen's on COVID now.
And
we have 9 players total now on COVID.
Yeah, it's like the whole defensive line seems to be on COVID. Who were the other guys, Trev? I mean, it was Jonathan Allen. It was William Bradley King.
David Mayo.
All these guys went on.
Look, it's going to be challenging, but I'm kind of with Nathan. If you go 2-2, you're probably going to sneak in because if you really start doing schedule analysis, so I kind of feel like if you lined up the 2 teams, the Vikings are a better team. But take a look at the Vikings schedule. I think they still have Green Bay on the schedule. I can't remember. They might have the Bears twice. Those are winnable games. But I looked at their schedule. They're likely to go 2-2 down the stretch. I mean, most of these teams, look, there's a reason that they're all 6-7. They're not teams that generally streak 4 games in a row. Okay, for Washington, that's an outlier because they started off the year 2-6. But most of these teams win 1, lose 1, win 1, lose 1. I'd kind of counted out the Saints. But yesterday, the Saints showed, with Simeon in there, they were bad. Without Kamara, bad. And Taysom Hill had the big interception game a week ago. But yesterday, he only threw the ball 21 times, ran for 2 scores. Kamara came in, was a monster. So now I kind of feel like the Saints have a shot. But again, you got to look at their schedule. I find it hard to believe that the Falcons could be in the mix.
Yeah.
The 5th team is at 6.
The Vikings, by the way, it's Bears twice, Rams
Niners.
and Packers are
okay,
the
so
other
Rams
games.
and Packers. So, I mean, you would expect, all right, they'll be a favorite against the Bears, but they're going to be a dog in 2 of those games. So, to me, that's probably 2-2 down the stretch for the Vikings. And you can go through this with each of these teams. Like the Saints they've got the Bucs.
Saints are Buccaneers, Dolphins, Panthers, and Falcons.
What about the 49ers?
Right there. So, I think the 2-2 scenario, I think a team gets in at 8-9. So, obviously, if you're watching, you want to win 3 out of the final 4.
Yeah, which is both Philly, New York, and lose to Dallas. Yeah.
If you can pull that off, you're going to get in.
3-1. You can beat Dallas and lose to Philadelphia. Now, I do think this game coming up Sunday against Philadelphia is really going to be the one that's the determining factor. I think they've shown the probability if they lose this game, they do have to win out essentially to make the playoffs at that point. Just because the Philadelphia game, also at 6-7, puts them in a good
you have
position.
them twice. This is where I disagree with you, Nathan.
I
mean, you could split with Philly, and I think you're still in good shape tiebreaker-wise. I guess, obviously you want to get the win, and as you mentioned, the COVID issues, that's going to be an issue. But I think the problem wasn't the defense. Even though they had backups to back up, the defense
they held their own.
Proven to be solid. It was the offense. So you got to get back to that
formula.
Get Gibson the ball like 25 times.
I was going to say, I'm going to talk about Gibby. Is his fumbling situation a problem, and do we address that in the draft this upcoming draft season?
It's definitely a problem this year.
Like, do we sign a free agent run it? Like, do we bring in somebody else new, or we let him?
I don't know that I would draft somebody because they're going to have other holes to fill.
Yeah.
Hopefully you get it right. You know, the weird part is I don't think he had a fumble last year. He didn't have any.
Oh.
Or at least none that were memorable, because I do think that he had a few, but I just don't think they're as backbreaking as the ones this year. Look up, JP. While you're looking up here, I wanted to bring up the other schedules of note. So Trev asked for the final 4 games for the 49ers. They have the Falcons at Titans versus the Texans and at Rams. The Eagles, though, this is the interesting one for the Eagles. They have Washington twice. They're against the Giants and against the Cowboys, both home games.
Yeah, so it's a whole NFC round robin kind of tournament.
Both Philadelphia and Washington with the NFC East round robin.
Yeah. Yeah, our guy Tiho, he says Gibby had 0
he's coming in there with the 0.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
that's old Tiho there.
Thank you, Gibby. Or whoever it was, Tito, Gibby.
That's Tiho.
Gibby,
that's our guy Tiho.
Yeah,
he's one of our loyal listeners. He's one of our P1s.
There you
go. Yeah.
What happened this weekend? I invited you to the P1 book party.
I know. Oh, it was the whole thing. Well, first, Trev.
I had a DJ at a wedding.
He was DJing a wedding, and he lives 3 hours away. And it's a whole thing going on in the Stone household where there's a little bit of friction between family members and all that, but so I couldn't make it. I was really bummed because this was like my Super Bowl.
He was.
Nathan and Trev were like, I can't believe you're not going to be able to go.
I felt really bad.
He had a family member come in. I told him that family member could to tour DC while he goes to the party, but he's a nicer family member than I am.
Yeah. We were. And how was it? It was a great. All the pictures looked amazing.
Yeah.
It looked like
it worked out. Time. You know, for those that don't know, P1 is like an inside radio term for first preference, and it means if you got in your car, what is the first radio station you put on? So we've kind of used the term P1 for the people that have listened to us for years, maybe listen to us daily. They know everything about the show, don't miss many segments, and so. One of my buddies had this idea about golden tickets like Willy Wonka. And in the first 1,000 books shipped, I had 25 golden tickets. They were invited to the party. And then I had some book signings along the way, gave away more golden tickets. Then I invited donks I met along the way like you guys. And next thing I know is like, I actually wasn't keeping track. And my wife says, how many people are coming to the house? I said, 50, 75 to 100.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, one thing that is great about the Junkies is we have like a really loyal audience that has been on this ride with us for 25 years. And part of the cool thing about that is you meet a lot of people along the way, right? So the best move I made was about a month ago, I reached out to Tailgate Ted. I said, hey, what are you doing on Saturday night? What was the date? The 11th? December 11th?
Yeah.
I said, any chance you might want to provide some food? And he was like, yeah, I'll definitely do that. And then we had some live music. We had comedy from Big John, which was, he ruined the surprise, but Big John is a guy who's followed our show for almost 2 decades. And to be honest, all he does is get pummeled on the show. He pretty much calls in and he gets made fun of by the guys over and over again. And he says he's a comedian. His bombs always tank on the show. He bombs. I mean, his jokes bomb, whatever the heck I just said. And so I wanted like the intrigue of everybody there that has heard this guy. They might not have ever seen him, but it was like train wreck. I anticipated full train wreck. I'll give him credit. He was brave. Some of the jokes did bomb, but eventually he kind of started just joning on the Junkies. And it actually went over.
That's what works.
And you know, people were into it. So kudos to him. So kind of set up a lot of things, had alcohol, food. It was a good time.
So it sounds like Big John is y'all's version of Taylor Heinicke.
Well, at least you're Taylor Heinicke, because I can tell you pretty much beat up on him a lot.
Yeah, he hates him. And again,
but we have a lot of
Big
Big John. Stoner knows that, man. There's a phenomenon in radio. I don't know if you guys have it within your show. And I write about this in Still Barking, the book, which you can get at stillbarking.com. There's the plug. But Rom, the card counter, is a character on the show, and he coined a term called attention dollars. And it is very apropos. So attention dollars is people that do not mind for the attention to be the butt of all jokes, to get grilled all the time, to be made fun of, but they're getting that attention. And Big John is one of them. But Rom is another one that was basically a punching bag on the show for years and years. Or our producers become that, you know?
Right.
I'm sure, like on this show, Nathan is your show punching bag.
That's right. We do that all the time.
You guys might think I am because you guys think you have the upper hand on the Gibson thing. But I just want to point out here, there was, in fact, one fumble in his first season. So I would like to point out that I was correct. He did fumble the ball.
Was that a fumble lost or just a fumble?
It doesn't matter. That wasn't specified.
Is that Pro Football Reference?
This is
Pro Football Reference.
Football Reference.
They're gonna have to fight it out with ESPN.
I was bringing up the ESPN one.
No, but actually, you know, it's kind of weird. So it looks like he might have had 2 fumbles on receptions.
Yeah, he had 2 fumbles and 2 fumbles lost.
There lies the rub.
Yeah.
So I was looking at fumbles. You know what? Point is, it wasn't as big a problem last year.
This is correct.
Right. This year.
Yeah.
This year it's been pretty bad. I just needed to atone for being called out.
Kudos to
I
you.
didn't know that he didn't fumble.
I need to talk to my crack research staff.
Yeah, we got to that would be this guy right here.
Tiho here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, well, it's been great having you on, JP. We really appreciate you taking the time. You are actually our first 2-time guest. I mean, we've had some of our podcast creators like George Carmi, who was on earlier. He's been on, but not as like a scheduled guest. So this is our first 2-time scheduled guest, John Paul Flame from the Junkies. Of course, here's the book. I've got my copy right here, Still Barking, which you can get.
What is that Post-it note?
It's his bookmark.
Oh no, that's where I am. That's where I am.
What page is it?
I am on page 46.
Oh.
Yeah, I haven't gotten very far. And then,
why did you lie, Stoner?
That
was my second time.
So EP put in our chat that she bought the book. So
we get a dramatic reading?
There we go. Yeah, Stoner, could you bring out some of that broadcast?
Here's something that nobody will know. I guarantee nobody has figured this out with the book.
All right.
So with page 46 is probably like chapter 4. I'm not quite sure.
Let's see what chapter that. Chapter 4, yes.
Chapter 4.
You're not going to do a Max Major thing, right?
There's little anecdotes, and they're divided, right?
Yep.
So, the dividers are what, Stoney?
What do you mean,
Stoney?
Yeah. What do you mean dividers? I mean, what do you mean?
In between each anecdotes, it's not like a straight line. What is it?
It's 4 stars.
Significance meaning?
4 stars, 4 junkies.
There you go. It's one of those little subtle things that nobody's probably going to pick up on.
Yeah.
But now giving you inside the book.
Ooh.
And this is about the time when you guys were just getting started, of course, towards the beginning of the book. And Don and Mike Don was the executive producer. He was the program manager. And you guys were talking about just getting your start and having to get Don on your side because Mike was just a good guy, but Don was kind of a hard ass. So that's where I am in the book. There's your dramatic interpretation of chapter 4 where I am. No, it was not a read
like from the start.
Oh, from the very start? Oh, you don't want
that. Come on, give me a paragraph.
All right, here you go. Here's a paragraph.
Oh my gosh.
4 stars, like there are 4 stars, right?
Yep, 4 stars.
Okay.
This is in chapter 4 on page 46.
Dramatic, Stoner, dramatic. I want to feel what you're reading.
What is the title of the chapter?
Oh, this particular chapter, the title is, see, you can tell I've never done, Not for Everyone.
Not for everyone.
Stoner is.
Yep. You ready? pouring into the main studio as Don packed his papers into a brown attaché case. It didn't matter that we had been doing weekend radio for over a year. The moment felt like our first show all over again.
There you go.
There you go. There's a paragraph. Thank you.
I wonder what happens next.
I wonder.
I wonder if these guys make it.
I wonder if they even have a shot. I haven't even looked at the pictures yet. Which
There's some good
really
pictures. You know what?
well.
Since you're at page 46, I'll tell you, this is also a little inside the book.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Pictures kind of tell the story, right? So the first two pictures, 3 of us grew up together. So there's some childhood pictures. Then there's the bridge. Jason playing basketball at DeMatha, playing basketball at college. We get to meet Jason, so we've been high school friends. Then you get to the cable access TV show. Flip the page.
Yep.
Just give away the whole book. But people buy it, stillbarking.com. So then you get to the cable access TV show, which is kind of the embryonic stage, kind of where you guys are at.
Yep.
How long have you been doing this thing?
Since about a year.
Yep.
About a year. So there you go. A year later, article gets written about us in the Washington Times, and bam, we get a shot to do radio on WJFK. And we'll have to read to find out what happens next.
Right.
Definitely check that out. That's stillbarking.com. You can get the book. EP, our executive producer, bought the book for the Perry household. So I'll be reading it as well. T-Ho is asking about the Sports Junkie. Stoner, where do you listen? Because I'm assuming because T-Ho's mentioned Spotify here. Where can they pull you down? If they're not listening to you live, JP, where can they find the Junkies?
Well, our company now likes to promote the app, so that's what I will do. Our company is Odyssey. They have an app, and you can get everything there, stream it on the app. There are a million ways, though, if you're creative, to find the show. The Odyssey app, and it actually has a rewind feature. So imagine, there you go. Imagine you miss Ron Rivera's interview tomorrow at 8:25. And
Which you shouldn't, but if you do.
You have a job. You got something going on. But then at lunch, you have free time. You can actually hit the rewind feature and go back in time and listen to it that way. But obviously, you can podcast. There's a million ways to get the show.
Yep. Like mine, I've got my I'm on part 1 from this morning. Yep,
Since you're giving us inside stuff, I know we're kind of having you on here long, but I have one quick question.
No, I'm not in a rush.
All right, word. Can you give us a question that we're looking forward to hear you ask Ron Rivera tomorrow? Like one of your best questions you have.
It's only you and Jason this week.
Right? Yeah. So like my extensive preparation that I've already done for the interview.
He's definitely done this, right?
You want the question? Right now, let me look at my sheet of the extensive preparation. Hey, Coach,
you don't have to do that.
Here's what you know. What's funny though about that? A lot of people will tweet us, particularly when they were losing, and they'll say, "Why don't you ask Coach a question like this?" Let me give you a question that listeners would try and get us to ask Coach Rivera. Hey, Coach, why does the defense suck?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We're not going to ask that type of question. I'm sure we'll probably get into some of.
Ooh, I have one you can ask for.
I'm sure we'll get into some of the things that he actually talked about today in the presser. But maybe we can get more of his theory and kind of what you were talking about. Why did they start off so slow?
And also
about them being sluggish, maybe being tired, which
I think he mentioned that today. Something about being a little bit tired from the West Coast trip.
We've had how many kickers on our squad this year for real?
4.
Around the 4th,
We've had so many block kicks. What's going on with the block kicks?
Well,
by different kickers.
Few of the kickers sucked.
Yeah.
And Brian Johnson might be a nice story, but it might turn out that he sucks too. I think we're going to find out.
Yeah, we don't know, right?
I know that the game, the one he hit, great story, a week ago, that trajectory wasn't that high on that one.
Yeah, it came out pretty low.
It was scary watching that one.
I joke about it, and the guys busted my chops, but like when they try out these guys, they should have, you play tennis sometimes and they have that wall where you can hit, if you don't have somebody there, just hit it against. They need to have like a wall.
Seriously.
See how many times the guys clear the wall.
Right.
Nice 10-foot wall.
Seriously. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. So what would you ask him? Why don't you give me? I'm now using you for my show prep, and I'll just. By the way, I'll file this away.
So how are you handling this COVID situation? Are you looking to sign people off the street, or are you going to just promote within?
Fair question.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be a combination of both.
He has said they have everything they need within the building, so I think that's an
they're probably going to grasp like somebody like Montez. I don't know the exact protocol, but he might be eligible to play by the time the next game comes around.
He had to miss 10 days.
Yeah, because he was unvaxxed, so he has to miss 10 games. I think his is going to be pretty close because it's not just the 10 games; that he also has to be symptom free on top of that. So his is going to be a little questionable. I do believe the other players are vaccinated, so they just have to, pass certain ones. But they're looking like they'll possibly miss this Philadelphia game. The question I think should be centered around the offense and possibly Gibson and his fumbles. This is not the first time that he has benched Gibson after a fumble. We saw it before. Gibson came back and had a monster second half. This time Gibson fumbled, and you saw a little bit more of Jarrett Patterson.
And Jonathan Williams, who scored
a touchdown. Williams. Is the Gibson fumbling a problem, and will we see more from these other running backs going forward? If J.D. McKissick continues to be out, is Gibson going to see more of that role on the, out as a pass catching? The guy was a wide receiver in college.
Yeah, they never really use him as a pass catcher that much.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe gets a couple. Good question. Can weave that in? I think they're kind of stuck with Gibson because I think he's by far the most talented. Like going back to what we were talking about, who are the best players on the field? Well, Gibson's among the top 5 on the Washington football team, right? You can pick a couple guys on defense, and then on offense, it's Terry and Gibby.
Mm-hmm.
So
and Eric Flowers.
I think you're hard pressed to bench him. Like you can try and send him a message. You just got to pound the message on him.
If you want to win a football game, you have to play him. You have to.
I think so.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he was really the key during that 4-game winning streak.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the leading rusher in the NFC. Which is wild to me.
All right, I have a good question that you might ask, and that is, Curtis Samuel came off of 2 weeks of being on a pitch count, right, of 20 snaps per game, and I think he hit like exactly 20 snaps in both games. But this game, they said he's not on any sort of snap count. He's a full participant in everything. Why then did he actually get less than 20 snaps in this particular game when he should have been fully healthy and a full part of this offense, especially when the offense is struggling? Shouldn't he see more time to start?
I heard him answer that today. He said
he talked about it today.
We kind of put it on Turner and game plan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Maybe that's one where I should go like the tweeters. Tell me why Curtis Samuel sucks.
Why do we pay him $34 million if he's not going to do anything? But
how bad does Curtis Samuel suck that you're not even playing him with all the injuries?
I looked at the box score yesterday, right? So before the season, and Terry McLaurin's a stud, we know that. But before the season, you projected Terry McLaurin 1, Curtis Samuel 2, and then maybe you did expect Humphreys as a slot receiver, but De'Ami Brown was getting hyped up. And then yesterday I looked at it. Those 3 guys combined for 0 catches. I think they were targeted a total of 7 times. But you're just not going to win many games if your top 3 receivers have donuts.
Yeah.
Now, I actually have started calling De'Ami Brown Antonio Gandy Brown.
Same thing. He's the same guy,
reminiscent to Antonio Gandy Golden.
Yeah. It's not been a pretty rookie season for. I know a guy. A lot of us were excited about.
I wanted, but
you don't exactly have a quarterback who can throw a good deep ball that was supposed to be
targets Terry.
But tell me how many times you've seen him wide open where it was the quarterback's fault.
This is also true. I mean, he did trip over his own feet there. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe that's your question. Don't ask him about Curtis Samuel sucking. Ask him about De'Ami Brown sucking, or all of their draft picks at this point.
Last couple of years,
little questionable.
Here's the thing about those interviews. I think he's starting to have fun with us. I don't know if you've listened to a lot of interviews.
He is.
Early in the year, he started getting combative with us.
Mm-hmm.
He was combative with the media in general. They were losing. And then here's the thing about Ron. So last year, it was supposed to be a development year, and he was preaching that. And then all of a sudden, the division sucked, and he changed his message. Well, this year, they were supposed to build on that success. There was a lot of excitement. They start off terribly, and he says on the show, I'm paraphrasing, you almost wish that there weren't these expectations. And he started talking about long-term because he was just like us. He thought when they were 2-6, they were cooked. And it was a moment of honesty. And then all of a sudden, they started winning, and he starts kind of puffing his chest. I told you so.
He interviewed bombed Cam Crow, I think, or something like that. He did a photo bomb during his interview one time last week, and I was like, Ron Rivera did a photo bomb? Oh, he must be feeling himself for real.
Gotta have
and on NBC Sports Washington. He typically doesn't do an interview with JP Finley afterwards. He did. They're riding high after 4 wins. So I don't really know what to expect. Like, I don't over prepare for those things. I don't really prepare for them. I just kind of listen. I watch the games and I ask questions depending on what's saying. And usually there's 4 of us asking questions, and you kind of got to pay attention to what he's saying and follow up and try and have fun. So I don't know if he's going to be combative, if he's going to have fun, if he's going to be like, guys, let me tell you what's going on.
Guys.
Because that's kind of what he does sometimes.
He does. Guys. I just know that John Bateman put a fire in John Bates himself, because he's actually coming around to be a decent tight end for us right now.
Definitely a great blocker.
Definitely.
Yeah.
At a minimum, and this is not a shot because I like him, at a minimum, he's Logan Paulson type levels.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think
Logan Paulson was a solid contributor for years.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was. Yes, he was.
Niles Paul.
Another good one. So we can talk football with JP
all day,
all night, but we're not going to keep him. We appreciate you jumping on here. You can catch JP on the Junkies tomorrow with that Ron Rivera segment at 8:25. Of course, head out to stillbarking.com. Buy the book. You don't have to listen to Stoner reading out chapters. You can read the chapters yourself. That's stillbarking.com. The 25 years of friendship and brotherhood for the sports junkie. It's
by the way, here's a little inside baseball. That I had a poster done for the book signings, which you just flashed up there, right?
Yeah.
And
I forgot how to do this.
If you want to show it again, it's fine. Doesn't matter. It's probably the last time I'm ever going to see it, because 3 of us on the show, we work downtown, a couple blocks away from Nationals Park. And 3 of us from the show park at Homewood Suites, which is a block away. Connections again, like the general manager there listened to the show. He heard us complaining that they had upped the parking in the building to like $250 a month. So he said, well, we got space over at Homewood Suites. You guys can park here. So we just tipped the valet. So I'm saving about $150 a month there. So on Friday, I had to bring a box of books for this book signing. And actually, sales guy was supposed to bring it to the client because the book signing was at Dulles Motor Cars. And turns out he never did that. He said, hey, you're going to need to go in my office and get this box of books. I also did a Channel 9 hit. So I brought in that poster and an easel. So I had my hands full. Cakes actually helped me bring it all back to Homewood Suites where we're going to pick up our cars. So I have the book signing later that day. I need to bring the signed books. All the junkies signed these books for the client that the sales guy was supposed to bring but didn't. So I have to bring that. I've got my backpack with my laptop. I've got the easel, and I have the poster, which I used for this Channel 9 hit. So the valet comes, brings up the car, put in the box of books, put in the easel, put everything, left the poster on the streets.
Right in
the damn thing. I'll never see it again.
Oh,
man.
Someone got themselves a nice souvenir.
Yeah, somebody got a souvenir.
But you got to flash it here, so I appreciate it.
Yep.
Of course.
There it is right there.
JP. There you go, dog.
All right. Well, again, JP, we appreciate you. We'll be listening to the Sports Junkie tomorrow, 8:25 with Ron Rivera. You can start listening. They start much earlier than that. And, of course, get that book, stillbarking.com. Get yourself a copy. All right. Thank you, JP.
Thank you, JP.
Appreciate you, JP. All right.
Pleasure having him join us. We still have some to talk about because we haven't even gotten to the dollar up there.
All right, so we're doing go-go's and no-go's real quick. I'm not gonna elaborate on them, but I have a go-go.
Yeah, because we talked so much already. But
let's hit these real quick. Go-go's and no-go's. Trev.
No-go's Taylor Heinicke. Go-go's Landon Collins.
His pro football score was actually really low, by the way.
I know, but to have a foot injury, miss the game, then come back and have a pick and play a little crucial part in the defense. The defense wasn't bad yesterday. They weren't.
Defense looked pretty good.
Yeah, they were not.
He played a part in it. He had a pick. So go ahead.
Yep.
Don't be right on my no go. It's my no go. My no go.
Right. All right.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Stoner.
So my no-go would probably be the entire offensive line. They've been go-go's quite a bit this year, but this was a no-go because the Dallas defensive line completely dominated them. My go-go for this particular week, I mean, it's hard to say. There really wasn't a whole lot that really stood out. But look, Cole Holcomb made a play. A lot of guys had a chance to make an interception. Kendall Fuller had one.
Oh God!
Jamin Davis had one.
Jamin Davis had one.
Yeah.
And Cole Holcomb had one, and he made the play. So he's my go-go, Cole Holcomb.
Yep, Cole Holcomb will be my go-go, and no-go you can pick about anybody else on the team. And this particular case, I'm gonna go with Gibson, who wasn't productive running the ball and fumbled again. So he's going to be my no-go. I think that's my third no-go on Gibson. So
he said just about any other player.
Anybody.
Right. He's right too.
It was not a good game. That game ended 27-20, but it was not that close. It was not that close at all. All right. It is time to pay up.
My favorite part.
All right. So real quick, we'll do the in-game dollars. We had 2 of those. Right? Yeah. Let's see. So EP and Trev both said that that Taylor Heinicke would get benched in the second half. He did not get benched. He went out because of injury, and Stoner took that bet. We also had one. Trev and I had a kind of a controversial one where we were talking about that long pass to DeAndre Carter, and when he dropped it, I said it was inside the 30-yard line. Trev said it was outside the 30-yard line. When you go back and look, he dropped it, and when he fell to the ground, he landed right on the 30-yard line. Yeah. So we called it a wash, right?
A wash.
Didn't say anything about that.
Nathan's like,
so, and wait, hold on. Let's go back to this real quick.
He's gonna nitpick it. Is he gonna nitpick it?
What was the bet? What was the bet?
The bet was that
where he dropped
he
the ball.
would have been inside the 30-yard line. Trev said he would have been outside the 30-yard line. He landed on the 30-yard line. So if he had caught it and where he landed, they would have marked it at the 30.
All right.
So we both said, we agreed, you're nowhere in this bet. You can't even get in.
Yeah, what the hell are you doing?
I was giving it to Trev because if he would have caught it, his knee probably would have been down, and he probably would have been outside the 30.
No, because he landed on the 30.
No, if he landed on the 30,
he landed his body. Listen, if he had caught it, it would have been inside the 30. I'm actually giving Trev a break on that one.
So, yeah, you would say that.
Look at them fighting over me. Y'all see this right now?
You hear this BS about him giving you a break? Like this man would give you a break.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Right. That's how you know you lost $1, Trev. Right there, you lost $1 because
now this doesn't affect this week's dollar, but we need to clarify the tipped interception rule for future bets. If a guy like Randy Gregory tipped the pass to himself, I think that is not a tipped interception. A tipped interception to me is if you tip it to a teammate. And then that's an interception. That to me is a tipped interception. Because how many people get clean interceptions?
It wasn't a clean pick.
You're being ticky-tacky with this, okay?
Right.
We're talking about somebody like bouncing the ball off their hands and then catching it.
Yeah, is that a tip?
He literally swatted the ball and tipped it to himself. That's a tipped
Because
interception.
if he tips to his teammate, it's the same result. They both have the interception. It doesn't matter which teammate caught it. It's a tipped interception.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not
so
talking.
okay.
They don't
Okay.
need to
That's
catch
fine.
it clean. It's not like
it doesn't-
he bobbled it. It was a tipped interception.
So that's from
Okay.
here on out. That's
From
the
here on out.
definition. Yes.
That's the definition. Okay. That's fine. I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay.
All right.
Man, Slaughter trying
'Cause
to
it
win
didn't
all
affect-
the dollars.
Well, it didn't affect this week, so that's why I'm okay with whatever we
I
decide.
got more of that coming. We got 4 games left.
All right, so Nathan and Trevor both said that Zeke would have less than 60 yards rushing. Stoner said no, and he did. He had like 46 or something.
I was really worried about that in the beginning. He was getting 4 yards every time he touched the ball.
He's trash. He's washed.
I was just like,
He
man,
didn't look good.
He's bad.
I didn't think he looked good. You were
Corey
saying he was
Clement
getting 4
ran better than
yards,
him.
I thought
Clement ran
Corey
better than
Clement
him.
ran better than him.
yeah, I don't think Zeke's a good player anymore. But when every time he's touching the ball, he's getting 4 yards against this defense that's supposed to be built to stop the run.
Yeah,
I was just like, what's happening? We've talked about this for the Washington side of the ball. You run those plays in the first and second quarter. So in the third and fourth quarter, you're getting 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was a little worried about that one early on, but thankfully came true.
So Nathan and Trev won $1. Stoner lost $1. Nathan and Stoner said that Washington football team would have at least one 40-yard play on offense, and they did. They had the 43-yarder to Cam Sims. And Trevor went against that. So Trevor lost $1 on that one. Nathan
That's the one I lost.
Damn. That's the one I had to reverse yesterday because I forgot that was a 43-yarder. Trevor said that Heinicke would have 2 picks. One of them would be a tip. He only had one, so the whole tip question didn't come into play on this particular one. Both Stoner and Nathan said he would not, so we both won that one. Trevor and Nathan both said that Brian Johnson would make all his kicks.
I mean,
which
dang.
He only kicked once, and he didn't make it. So I would also like to clarify on that one. If you say Johnson makes all his kicks, and let's say he doesn't attempt to kick, is that
I think it's a
wash?
push. I think it's a push. Yeah.
Just want to make sure.
What's a push mean?
That means a wash. That it doesn't
void. Okay.
Yeah. Because he didn't make all of his kicks, but he didn't miss all of his kicks either. There's no way to award the dollar.
Yeah, award somebody. All right. So Stoner and Nathan both said that Dak would have 280 plus yards passing. He only had like 211. So Trev won $1 from both of us on that one.
Thank you very much.
Stoner and Nathan, this is the dumbest bet ever, both said that Samuel would have 40 plus yards receiving. Which
what did I say?
You said he would not. I mean, that was, he didn't even have a touch. I don't think.
He didn't have a target.
Right?
Samuel didn't do anything. A big goose.
Did he even have a target?
Nothing.
He ran in motion the entire game and didn't receive a target.
0 fantasy points.
Yeah.
0 anything.
Nothing. He ran
I
in
don't
motion
even think he had a target. All right. Nathan said that Dalton Schultz would lead the Cowboys in receiving yards.
I knew that wasn't true.
One catch
Stoner
for 4
and Trev
yards.
said no. Right?
Yeah. The one game where I thought he was on my fantasy too. So thanks a lot, Dalton. But go ahead.
And both Trevor and Nathan said that Riverboat would throw a challenge flag.
And what he did.
He did. He threw a challenge flag and won it.
I know. Bro,
Stoner said that wouldn't happen. So, and lastly, I guess we should say this is that Mama Perry said that Washington football team would score only in the first quarter and Dallas would score only in the third quarter. So
Mama
that was
Perry,
a tough one.
What in the world?
That's a very specific bet.
That's a hard one.
So Stoner, Nathan, and Trev all took that bet.
We were like, easy money.
Yeah,
easy money.
Mama Perry had 24-17 Washington. Trev had 30-26 Washington. T-Ho had 24-17 Washington. Nathan had 26-24 Washington. Katie had 31-20 Dallas, and I had 30-20 Dallas.
She didn't even call
those weren't worth $1, but it was 30-20, and the actual score was 27-20.
Katie,
guy was all over it.
She knew what time it was. She knew not to bring that in here.
Yeah, she knows better.
We would have smoked her out. Get out of here.
I guess now that the board's been finished, I suppose I have to actually show the results.
Oh yeah, I want to see what's going on.
Oh yeah. Let's give us
for the first time.
Look at that, baby. Talk to me.
And a
I
lot
gotta take
of
this off.
time.
Yeah,
For our audio listeners who can't see this right now, I have been dethroned. And Stoner's on top at $17. I am sitting steady at $16. Trevor is climbing his way up.
He is actually.
He had a big game. That was a +4 game for him. He's at I think it was actually ended up being +3, right? But
for the week,
for the
yep,
week,
Trev was +3.
So
Nathan was even, and I was +1.
Yep. So he ended up +3. He's at -11. Yeah, T-Ho, don't take.
I can see it.
Don't take.
Everybody
Trev's
can see it.
Bets, T-Ho.
T-Ho, everybody can see my score. I don't need your comment on that.
Don't take his.
I'm just kidding.
You guys teased something for during a little, the DMV Sports Zone. Do you guys want to tease that here now?
Oh, it's not official yet, but it's in the making. Another segment to Ref the District is coming, hopefully, within the realm of some parlay action, some side wages, some moolah, baby. So just be looking forward to that.
It's gonna be a brand new segment. We haven't figured the name of it yet. We haven't figured out when we're doing it. We haven't even figured out how we're doing it, but we're doing it.
We want to do it, and we're going to.
We are working it. We've been doing Dala since the beginning. It comes from Stoner's and I's friendship, a decade in the making. We're going to expand on that. We'll have more on that as the idea gets fleshed out.
You guys, I won $50 on FanDuel last night for Sunday Night Football.
Did you really?
I only wagered $3. Yeah.
There you go.
Nice. There you go. That's what it's all about.
In Maryland, we have to go to MGM to go make a bet in person. We still can't do anything on there.
I'm so sorry.
Yep.
Two up, 2 down, baby. Virginia. 2 up, 2 down.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this day after reckoning. Washington fell. This was not a victory Monday, but we had a lot of fun here on the show. If you just catching up on us, go back, watch the section there with George Carmi from Full Press Coverage, Washington.
Yes, sir.
And of course, we had a long section there with JP from the Junkies and Still Barking, the new book that is being published or that has been published. Check that out as well. You'll even get a sneak peek because Stoner gives you a little bit of the reading.
Oh,
you'll catch us next on Wednesday where we'll have our full show and we'll be discussing the game against Philadelphia.
It's a must Philly.
Win.
Yeah, I'm past this Dallas game.
It's Philly week. Doesn't quite have the same ring to it.
Nah. What's up,
Yes, Stoner?
Yeah, don't forget, we're actually going to be on 2 Philly podcasts this week. We're going to be on Wednesday Night Live with Bearded Knowledge. That's his show. Phil Bearded Knowledge is his show in Philly. And also on Thursday at 7 p.m., we'll be on with JC Eagles. He's another Eagles podcaster, so we'll be on his show previewing the game. Plus, of course, like you just said, our show on Wednesday. So we're going to be busy this week.
Full press coverage
George
and full press coverage
tomorrow, right?
George.
Yeah, it's Philly week.
It is Philly week. We are on to Philadelphia here with Ref the District. This has been the Day After Reckoning. We are sponsored by Pacers Running. For every run, they've got you covered. And we're also sponsored by Skybar. It will be opened up Lexington, Virginia. They've got your drinks covered in a speakeasy fashion.
Hey, I like that, dog. I like that.
Your drinks covered in a speakeasy fashion.
And until next time.
What?
Be a fan.
We love Washington, and we some die-hard fans. Yeah, we are. You know we keep it on 10. 1, 2, 3, let's go. And they gifted. We are Ref the District. Podcast. Come on now and join us.